How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my first weekly rotations video. It's something that I've been telling y'all about that I want to start after the first of the year, giving you a little extra thing throughout the week. And I know it's a little different because it's in a vertical format and I don't have my nice studio background behind me, but I wanted something that's a little more casual, a little more personal, just sit down and chill and chat kind of thing. Because every time I'm in front of the main camera, I feel like I'm in presenter mode and I feel like I have to do everything, you know, by the book and by the letter. But this one, I can just sit down and just talk with you, telling you all the things that I wore throughout the week from Sunday through Saturday. I'm gonna try to do as minimal editing as possible, so this video might be very short, it might be very long, just however I go through talking about it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And just to give you a forewarning, even though my channel is called the Eau de Cheap channel, where I try to focus more on the cheap end of fragrances, these are things that I wear day to day throughout the week, and I own a lot of other things besides just cheapies. So you might see some brands, you might see some designers and some niche, some indie, but I try to sprinkle in some cheapies in there because that's what I do love to wear. So just forewarning that these might not be something that everyone can get, or they might not be readily available, and I'm not gonna really talk about that. I'm just gonna talk about what I wear, what it smelled like, and how I wore it. Let's go ahead and start with the first day, which was this past Sunday. It's one that my wife got me for Christmas, and it's my favorite flanker in the line that it's in. I think it's the best of the best. It is this one here, Versace Eros Parfum. So I think it's a more grown-up version. I think it is more mature, it's more base heavy, more, I think the smoothest. It's not gonna be as fresh and fruity with that apple note and that mint. It's gonna be more focused on the vanilla and the woods and the deeper, richer things in it. Probably more suitable for like cold weather like we're in now, and maybe even for dates or for older people who think that the other ones are too youthful. I personally like this one the most. It reminds me more of the reiterations, inspirations that I personally enjoy, like Oxford Blue by English Laundry. I think it's way better. For some reason, the EDT and the EP just never really vibed with me. I had a friend that wore it for a long while, and every time I smelled it, I thought that it almost smelled like it was off a little bit. Of course, he did leave his fragrances in the car, which could do it, but this is the one that I love. This is the version that I think is the best. I think it's so good, so good. Performance is not gonna be very loud. For the first little bit, for like an hour or so, it might be like medium, but it's Parfum, so it's gonna sit a little closer to skin. It does have great longevity, and the dry down and the skin scent is just gorgeous. It's amazing. I did also get Eros Flame a few days later, so I'm gonna be trying that out as well. It's probably one of my other favorite ones, but as far as Eros, this is the only one I'm gonna need, and I really, really love it. That was my Sunday fragrance. That night when I got home from church, I just wanted to spray something else on just to try it out, and it's one that I talked about in my live stream, and it's one I got in. I don't see a whole lot of other people talking about it, but I do like it. It is Lattafa's Ajayeb Dubai. This is supposed to be a clone of Black Phantom by Klein. It's supposed to be a coffee heavy, like caramel, sugar with some woods and smoke and spice and things like that. For some reason, I don't really get the coffee in this. I don't know if there's something wrong with my nose, or if I just drink so much coffee, because I am a coffee addict. If I drink so much that my nose is blind to it, I don't know. But some people are smelling like butterscotch kind of candies and the caramelized sugar and all that. And I do get some of that in here, a good bit of sweetness. I do get a lot of dense woods. I think there's maybe like sandalwood and some other things like that. But what I mainly get with this is the saffron spiciness. I don't know if I'm just very sensitive to saffron, but I really smell it in this, and I do really like it. It's gonna be really good, a loud performer for the first like hour, half or so, and it lasts a long time, easily like 7 hours or so. It's wonderful. I can only imagine that this is gonna probably smell way better after it macerates and sits for a while. Now, then the next day happened. So that Monday, went back to work after the holidays, and I wore one that a lot of you probably have seen around if you've been on YouTube for a good while, or if you're subscribed to this channel, you definitely heard about it. It is Michael Malul and Gent's Terra. So this is gonna be something that's very similar to the Bulgari Tiger kind of style, with that grapefruit citric, very fresh, and then the ambroxan, ambery woodiness and the dry down, very similar to that. But this has a little bit of a twist on it. It has a more floral aspect to it. I think there's like a water lotus note or something like that. And I actually did get more florals the last time I wore this. It's like I get something different out of it every time, but it does start off very citric, like mouth-watering, kind of juicy citrus with some, I think there's grapefruit. I know there's maybe some ginger in here as well, which matches with the Bulgari Tiger kind of thing. And then it gets into some florals, and then you get a lot of warm ambers and then some good woodiness in that dry down. It's a drop dead gorgeous fragrance. I don't care what anyone says. This is really good. Ash did a great job creatively directing this, and it's very classy. You can really wear this all year round. I would say casually you could wear it, but it just smells so classed up. I don't even know if I'd want to wear it any other situation, but I did wear it to work. It's perfect for that. I mean, because it's very light, it's very fresh. I don't see anyone that's not gonna like it really. And performance on this is fairly loud for the first like hour or so. I really don't know if it's gonna be a super, super loud after that. And longevity fluctuates a little bit. I know some people say it's a poor performer on longevity, but I've got better longevity with this the more I've worn it. Maybe it's just macerating more over time, but I've easily gotten like, you know, 6-7 hours or so, almost a whole day's worth. And you can still smell a little bit on your clothes after it dries down. But this is my office fragrance for that Monday. And then that Monday night when I came back, I decided to try out some samples that I got from Aaron Terrence Hughes from his brand. And this one was Forbidden. The thing is with these, I got these samples from a friend of mine who bought them from Max Aroma. So I don't know if Aaron bottles these or if Max Aroma bottles these, but the bottling on these is not very secure. They do tend to evaporate over time, and I didn't notice that until I put them away, went back to check with it later, and I noticed that they were getting darker and that the levels had gone down and that some oil had actually accumulated inside the cap and atomizer. So I was like, I'm gonna have to hurry up and wear these things. So I quickly just got the sample box in here in my bedroom, put it right here on the dresser I got here so I could always see it, and every chance I get, I'll get it. When I come home, I'll spray some on, because I wanna use these things up before they dry down more and they lose their profile. And I wanna be sure that I wear them up, before they evaporate and disappear from my collection. But Forbidden is one that is very vanillic sweet. If you're familiar with Hard Candy or Hard Candy Elixir, it's very similar to that, or even Slut or Daddy by Aaron Terrence Hughes. Can't believe I said that on camera. But those fragrances in this, very much in the same way, very fruity, sweet on the front, a lot of vanilla in the background. Aaron used a lot of musks in his stuff, both, almost airy musk, but also sweet musk to help push everything, give it more projection. His stuff is amazing in performance, super, super loud, and they last easily like almost 10 hours, depending on what you're wearing. But this one is kind of run the mill of some of the stuff that he does. It's definitely his style, but it's more a little front fruity, very vanillic, musky, powdery, and a little bit of a warm, almost woody dry down. It smells fantastic, great for dates and casual wear, especially in the colder weather, so really good. Wore that one, but I wore that one on my chest and on my neck, but I had another one come in that I was like, I really wanna try that out. So I sprayed this one on a test strip, and I sprayed it on my arms so that I could smell it. I can't believe that I haven't already gotten it, and the hype may be gone from it, but I still decided to order it, get it in so I could smell it. It is this one here, Lattafa's Asad Zanzibar. So this is a very controversial fragrance. A lot of people going back and forth whether it's a clone or inspiration of this, or whether it's an original, or either you really like this one or you just absolutely don't like it, whether you think it's good or you think it's just not wearable. I actually really like this one, and a lot of people saying that it's trying to be like, Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Beau or Le Beau Le Parfum, or maybe it's an original. I think it's a little similar to that, but it's pretty much its own thing. I think that Lattafa decided to go their own way with it. And I actually think it smells more like something else than Le Beau Le Parfum. I think that it smells more similar, at least to me, to Armani's Code, especially the original formulation, that powdery spiciness, but it has a little bit more of a different kind of factor to it. To me, what I first get with this, there's no tropical fruitiness in this, so that leaves Le Beau out. There's no, kind of citric factor to it. Immediately what I get when I spray this was just a lot of powdery iris. It's very iris forward. And then right behind that, a lot of vanillic, milky, lactonic quality. I know people say there's coconut water note in this, which is where they get some of their tropical factors, but I think that it's more like coconut milk because of that lactonic factor. And there's also sandalwood in the dry down and a lot of that. But to me, this is what I think of when I smell this is steamed milk with vanilla. It's just so milky, lactonic. I think more so than what people are talking about, or maybe that's just my bottle. I even let my wife smell this, and I was like, what does it smell like to you? And she's like, well, actually it smells like hot milk. And I was like, it's exactly what I thought it smelled like. It made me very weird. but it makes it very unique and to me, very original. And my mom, when I was a kid, used to make me what she'd call hot milk. It was just microwaved milk with a little bit of vanilla extract, and this smells exactly like that. You get sweet, powdery, again, milky, like tonic, vanillic. Look, again, it is a little fresh. It's not too dense. I think it can be light and airy enough to wear in the summer, but I think because of the sweetness and that creamy factor, it really could be, I mean, from spring to fall, and even some, you know, cooler but warmer ends of the summer, warmer ends of like the fall, maybe even winter time. It's not really just a certain set thing. I think this has a lot of different factors to it, a lot of different facets that people just aren't talking about that much, but I really like it. I can see how it might be a little cloying to some people, especially that powdery mixed with the creamy and all the other stuff, but I think it's great, and I think it'll get even better with maceration. Just a little bit that I've smelled, I absolutely love it. Performance on this is, you know, medium projection, probably the first hour or so, and it dries down being, of course, like I said, that like tonic kind of skin scent, but I think performance as far as longevity is probably gonna be about 5 to 6 hours at the most. Maybe, again, after it macerates, it is longer, but I actually really like this one. I'm glad I got it. I know the recent one, Asad bourbon, came out. I'm gonna try to get that as soon as it hits discounters for a good price. I got this one actually from Amazon for like 19 bucks, which was fantastic. Really, really good. I like it. I don't see what all the downing is about over it. I think it's very unique, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. But that was what I wore on Monday night. That's what it was. That's what I wore on Monday night when I came back, because I got it in that day. That Tuesday to the office, because it was a lot colder. It was getting more bitter cold, and I knew it was gonna get even colder that night. I wore yet another Michael Malul and Gent scent one, but this is a little more recent release. It was West Loop, the one that Ash brags about all the time as being the sexy date night kind of one. And I see why. This thing is amazing. I got this while I was on vacation to a certain location. I'm just kidding. I'll tell you, I went to the mountains and I really liked it. I went to the, I think Perfumania there, got this one and another one for a certain percentage off, which is how I would recommend you do it. I remember smelling it way when he first released it, but I was like, I wanna try it again because I really wanna get one of his newer releases, and apparently he's working on even more new ones. And smelled it, didn't quite get it at first. I was like, I don't know, maybe a little bit, you know, leave it a little bit. Then I sprayed it on my skin. I was like, I'm just gonna wear it around and try it out. And as it dried down is where the magic came out. So you're really gonna get a good sweet tobacco, sugary, you know, almost patchouli, saffron, there's a little bit of cinnamon, there's some spiciness in there, and a good bit of a woody backbone. It is absolutely fantastic, but what it draws comparisons to me and similarities is it smells very similar to the dry down of Red Tobacco by Mancera. It's gonna also have similarities to something like Mystery Tobacco by Carolina Herrera, and more similarities to Exclusive Tobacco by Maison Alhambra, that clone of Mystery Tobacco, but it's all around that same style, so it's also gonna be a little bit in the same style of like Carlisle by Parfum de Mali. Anything around that, it's gonna be in that style. Not as harsh opening as Red Tobacco, doesn't have that very noticeable oud, patchouli note, but it is gonna have that sweet tobacco, just central deep dry down. It is fantastic, and it's a great performer. Loud projection for the first hour, hour and a half, and longevity is easy, like 7 to 8 hours. It's wonderful. I've been able to actually smell this on my clothes like 2 days later, so really, really good. If you have a chance to get this one, I highly recommend you try it out, or at least get a sample of it, or maybe even the travel size atomizer. And then that night, my church had a New Year service. It was kind of late, it was getting way colder, and I saw a perfect opportunity to try out this one. It's another one by Antrance Hughes, and those who are fans of his work will hail this as kind of like the top ones that you should get from him. It is Tabac. If you can see that, it might be a little backwards there. So as you can tell by the name, it's a tobacco forward fragrance, and it is probably the best tobacco I've ever smelled. It is so smooth, but yet very sweet. You still get a little bit of a smoky herbal kind of style, but not overwhelmingly like ashy, how I like consider like Herod by PDM or some other ones like that. Kind of like an ashy cigarette tobacco. This is more of a herbal, sweet, very smooth tobacco. Very pungent though, very loud, like most of Aaron's stuff is. Very bass heavy. I think there is a little bit of oud in here, and he uses actual oud. A lot of spiciness, again, like vanillic sweetness. It just has his style, but as a tobacco fragrance, and It was wonderful, lasted me the whole night. I had people hugging me and being like, "Oh, you smell amazing, what is that?" And I'd tell them, and it's just fantastic. Glad I got a sample of it. There's only a little bit left in it, but I'm gonna be trying to use that up before the cold weather ends. And then you get into the next day, which was Wednesday, which was the first day of the new year. My wife and I were off work. We decided to have the day together and go out and do some shopping that we didn't get to do over the holidays and over the weekend. And I decided to wear something that, I don't know why I haven't worn it a whole lot. I really just had it sitting back and was waiting to talk about it in a later video, but decided to get it, wear it, and see what it was like. And I really do like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now. It is this one here, Linsimus by Lalique. And a lot of you might recognize this one. You might have seen it even on certain discounters and been like, I wonder what it smells like. And I wonder if it smells any good. You might have even looked it up and wondered if it was anything worth getting. And I will tell you, it is absolutely amazing. Of course, anything from Lalique is gonna be a very, very good quality for a cheap price. I mean, this stuff is so smooth. It is amazing. It has a sensual, almost sexy nature to it, but while being very mature and a little grown up, almost gentlemanly in a way. This is gonna have a lot of similarities to Straight to Heaven by Killian, and it has that rum note, very booziness. It has a lot of wood. I think like cedar and some other things, and some patchouli, a deep woodiness, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of spice. It's just absolutely amazing. It's not gonna be exactly like Straight to Heaven, but it's gonna be like a twist inspiration, because Lalique tends to have a lot of things that are very similar to other fragrances, and this is their similarity to that one. But while having that Lalique kind of edge to it, a little bit of a floral, almost menthol kind of thing at the top, but it quickly goes away. It's just absolutely incredible. There's also another flanker of this one called Linsimus, I think Fresh or Fresh or something like that. It's a very fresh one, and I want to get that one so I can complete this lineup of it. But this one, the regular Linsimus, is incredible. If you want a very grown-up, mature, sweet, woody fragrance, it is this one here. This one's fantastic. That's what I wore through the day. And while we were out, I went through Bath & Body Works. I had a gift card with them, and I love getting some of their stuff, and there's a lot of other things from them that I want to talk about later in the channel. But we went in, and they had a lot of their stuff for like 50% off, including a lot of their fragrances that they didn't sell through the Black Friday holiday season. And this is one that I actually smelled on Black Friday, but didn't get it because it would have been full price. But when I saw that it was 50% off, I was like, I have to get it. It is one that you might have seen around if you've ever been in the stores, but if not, go to one and find this one, because you won't regret it. It is Wild Wanderer by Bath & Body Works. This thing is incredible. Nothing like anything you'd expect from Bath & Body Works. Smells very niche profile, very unique. Not gonna be anything even a designer brand might even put out, but that's why I'm very surprised that Bath & Body Works did. This is a very saffron, spicy, and leather forward fragrance. This is one that the notes are very, that 3-note breakdown kind of thing. It is, I think, chili pepper, which is that spice, saffron, and the base is something like cashmere woods. So it has a very soft woodiness to it, but when you smell it, there's an unmistakable leather nuance to it. So really think of this as chili pepper, saffron forward with a leather undertone with some soft woods, a little bit of musk, and a little bit of an ambery kind of dry down. But the saffron is going to be the star of the show, kind of similar to how Lattafa's Ajayeb was. But this saffron is a little sweeter, not as dry. It has that designer-esque, almost Bath & Body Works kind of style to it. But it is absolutely fantastic. Got home that night, broke it open, wore it through the night, and it lasted me majority of the night, easily like 4 or 5 hours with a medium to intimate projection. But this stuff is super sexy. I mean, absolutely incredible. There's another one I got from them that I actually got for Christmas for my wife, and I'll talk about that one later in the channel. But this one, Wild Wanderer, if you can find it, again, for that 50% off, which made it like 17 bucks, it is a no-brainer. Absolutely incredible. And then you get into that Thursday, January 2nd, I went back to work. It was, again, colder that day, and usually this is one that people would consider a nighttime fragrance, but I decided to wear it through at work because it was still soft, it was still a little sweet and very, mass appealing, but yet it still has a little bit of a richness and unique factor about it. It is Prada Intense. So again, on the ones that aren't gonna be that cheap and the ones that aren't gonna be that easy to find, I got this one while it was still thought to have been discontinued. I got it from eBay, paid almost full price for it, but maybe a little bit off, but I really want to get it. I heard a lot of people talking about it, especially Omar from the School of Sense channel, talking about being the best iteration of Prada L'Homme, and I had some money saved up, so I decided, hey, I might as well go ahead and spend full price on it. Went to eBay again, found it, and really glad that I did. At first, when I got this, I did not see the appeal. I did not get all those rich nuances that people got, like the tonka and the leather and a lot of the spice and some of the deeper notes in it, the sweetness and all of that. But as I sprayed it, let it macerate, wore it time after time after time, I can say now I get all of those aspects, especially the leather and tonka that is in this. It's a little darker, but still has that very uplifting kind of iris powderiness, not as soapy as the original Prada L'Homme. Again, this is more of the mature, deep, rich take on it. Again, some people have to say it's more of the nighttime version of it, where you can wear Prada L'Homme in the day and wear this at night, but because of how I was wearing it, I didn't spray on too much, I didn't make it too heavy. It was still light enough to wear at the office. I think it worked perfect, so you could easily wear this one in the daytime if you're doing office work or around other people, and spray it again that night as it goes through. I've gotten better performance with this every time I've worn it. Again, like a medium to infinite projection throughout the majority of the fragrance, but longevity has easily been like 7 hours or so, depending on if it's on skin or clothes. On clothes, it's a little longer, but still absolutely amazing. Again, I think it is the best iteration of the Prada L'Homme DNA. It is just so rich, so, opulent, very dark, not going to be something like, Acre Noir or All Extreme, that kind of darkness, but because of how it's compared to the original, it's definitely the darker scent and also the sweeter scent in it. That's what I wore that day, that night when I came home, just to chill at the house and, do some things around the house and be with the wife and all that kind of stuff. I had a chance to try out another of one of Aaron's samples that I got, and this one I tried out was Luna. This one is a very rose forward fragrance, and if you know anything like Onyx and Onyx Extreme, those are also rose forward, but those are sweet rose, has a lot of vanilla behind those, and they dry down, still staying a little bit of that ambery warm sweetness. This, however, is way less sweet and more focused on woods and especially a strong incense note, and I actually think I like this one more than Onyx because of the dry down. It has a very smoky, intense, sultry kind of dry down. That rose goes off after a while and you're left with that incense. It's just an absolutely gorgeous scent. Overall, I mean, guys, this thing is amazing. It reminds you a little bit of just that Middle Eastern style. You could pick out things from this fragrance and that one, but I still think it's very original, very much Aaron's style. Again, if you want a rose, smoky, incense, woody, again, a little less on the sweetness than Onyx, this is the one to go with. I definitely recommend trying out all of his samples. And then went back to work on that Friday, and I wore something that you might not think is all for work, but because of how I used it and sprayed it up, I didn't make it overpowering, and I actually don't think that it's as loud performing as people give it credit for. I went back to the original Asad with Lattafa's Asad. Again, the Sauvage Elixir clone, the most known one. More noticeable on the vanillic sweetness. You still do get some clove. Again, I think like things like nutmeg, cinnamon, almost an allspice kind of thing. Very spicy, a lot of ambroxan, a lot of woods, a lot of lavender as well. Very masculine, but not gonna be as overwhelmingly loud as Sauvage Elixir as the original. The original would have been like way too much. I think this is a little bit fresher, even if just a little bit fresh. A little lighter, more wearable, more tolerable, but it's not gonna be anywhere near the performance as that. And a lot of people say it still has good performance, but I really don't get a lot of loud projection out of this. I've gotten better longevity over time, but about the same projection over time. I think medium projection for the first hour or so, hour and a half, and then longevity that I actually got on this one lasted me from, easily 6 hours or so, which is pretty good, a lot better than what I've gotten with this before, but it's still, without a doubt, one of the best bang for bucks you can get if you want something that is in that hyper masculine Sauvage Elixir style with a little bit of a throwback feel. This is a good one to go with, and it's super cheap now, like $14, $15 from discounters, even things like Amazon, you can get it for around that. It is super, super cheap. You can't afford really not to get this one and try it out. It's a hype beast, still is going around. And I think it still deserves it. Worked out very well for me that day. It was cold, and I think people around me liked it as well. And then that night, me and my wife went on a date, and I decided to wear another one of Aaron's releases. I think it's one of the last few samples I have out of all these. It is one that, again, fans of his work will say is the best of the best, that you need to try this one out above everything else. And I gotta say, I really do like it. It is his fragrance called Oud. And as you can imagine, it smells like oud, except with Aaron, you're getting real oud. He sources his own oud. He chooses where it comes from. He has, licenses and paperwork that shows you when you buy the fragrance, when you order online, that it is actual oud. This percentage of it is in this fragrance and all this and that, to make sure he lets you know that you are spending your money well, which I really appreciate. But this is real oud. And the thing is, it's not animalic, it's not barnyardy, it's not funky, almost fecal. It is the smoothest, woodiest oud that I've ever smelled. And apparently, according to him, that's what actual oud smells like. It just depends on how you harvest it. On that front, you get a good floral rose, and Aaron loves working with rose. And actually, the thing is, I think this is actual rose absolute in this. So you're looking at real rose absolute and real oud and a lot of other things. So you're looking at some expensive ingredients, and it really shows with this one. Again, front with rose, you get a little bit of the smoky incense in the background as well. Quickly getting through some woody oud. I think there's a very tad bit of sweetness in here, not a whole lot like a lot of his other ones have, and a good bit of muskiness. Again, Aaron loves using his musks to increase projection and really push out all the other notes, supporting everything. And of course, with a lot of Aaron's stuff, it's an amazing performer. It is super loud. I can only imagine what a full-size bottle with a full atomizer would be like. It'd be like probably overwhelming, but it was very loud. I mean, for the first hour and a half, 2 hours, a medium to loud projection, and longevity was like all night long. I could easily smell it on my skin, on my chest and neck, even until the next day after sleeping in the bed and getting up. I mean, it is amazing. Again, the best oud I've probably ever smelled and probably will ever smell. Who knows? But absolutely incredible. Has Aaron's signature style in it and his personality and what he wants to smell on himself and give to other people. His vision and his artistry really comes out in all of his fragrances. But this is the last one of the samples that I have out of his stuff. And as you saw, those 4 that you saw in the video are the only 4 I have left. And I'm gonna be trying my best to use them up before the cold weather ends. That way I can use them up before they all evaporate into nothing, because these bottles are not sealed the best. And then you're looking at today, which is Saturday, and my scent choice was one that I picked up and opened up on a live stream on my last one that I did with my friend Tommy. It is Calvin Klein's Eternity for Men Flame. This one is really, really good. Very sweet, fruity on the top. I think it has a pineapple note in it, and it has a quick dry down of aromatic rosemary, which I think is the heavy lifter in the fragrance, is majority of it. You're gonna smell that rosemary, very herbal, aromatic. You get a good dry down of amber, just a warmth, and of course some leather in there as well. It's very much just a very sensual, date night kind of style. I mean, you could really wear this, I think even in the daytime as well, but a date night would be perfect with this. It's sweet, warm, ambery, aromatic, just absolutely incredible. Wearing this tonight and loving every bit of it. And that, guys, concludes my first weekly rotation video. What do you think about it? Have you enjoyed it? Is it everything that you'd want from a weekly rotation? From me, is the style of the video okay? Do you like it? Would you rather me do something different? Would you rather me change the background or go back to my old setup where I'm sitting in front of the desk with the whole camera and everything and just have these all laid out? Let me know in the comments below what you think, what I can improve on it, what you can even see me add later on. I just wanna make sure that I'm doing something that's quick to produce, because I know I'm having an extra video now, and I'll make sure that it's something that I can put in with minimal editing, quickly get it out there to you, and also something that, again, is more personal, more just casual, that's different from everything else that I do. I wanna make sure that whether it be a longer video or a shorter video, just something that genuinely feels like it's straight from me to you guys, because I think that you all enjoy it. And what do you think about all these fragrances that I wore through the week? Anything that you have that you really like, or anything that you want to get that you're looking at? Let me know what you think, even things that you're wearing throughout this week. I'd love to hear about it all in the comments below. And again, guys, if you enjoyed this style of video or just the content therein, please consider giving a like and a thumbs up. And if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, but you do like what you see here and you're curious about what may be coming up next, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you can see all the other things I have coming up that I have planned. And trust me, there is a lot planned. I'd love to have you ride along part of this fragrance journey of mine along with this community here. And hey, maybe I can help you discover something new as well. And as usual, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Again, thank you for being here with me and for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I will see all of you again in the next video on Friday and in the next weekly rotation. Be blessed.